Hello and welcome to art class with Mr. Rogers, bead making part 3, rolling with levelers. What are levelers? Well, in this case, I'm using these two rulers, but you can use whatever you have around. You just need two long things that are the same thickness. And I'm using these rulers, but you could use pencils or something like that. For my rolling pin, I have a wooden dowel, but if you don't have a rolling pin, you could use something like a water bottle. That would work. And I'm smushing my salt dough. And see how the levelers there they're making it all the same thickness. So I'm going to have this nice, strong, but pretty thin piece of salt dough to work with. Now I take my popsicle stick and I cut off a little piece. There we go. That's how thick it is. So I can turn that into something too. I can turn that into a moon. I'll just put that off to the side right now. I want to use the ends for something. I can always turn that into something later if I want to. But right now I'm going to work on a Thunderbird. Now this is a pretty tough one. So you don't have to try this one if you don't want to. I just want to show you that this option exists. I'm using an idea that we talked about in a previous video when we looked at common symbols of Native American societies in our local area. And the Thunderbird is one of those, or the eagle. And I'm starting off by making this kind of grid. This makes it easier to tear off pieces, but it can also make it your piece a bit more fragile. So you just got to be very careful not to press too far into the salt dough with your popsicle stick or your butter knife or whatever your tool is. All right. Now I'm working on the wings here. This part's kind of tricky. If you want to try it, I applaud you for even trying, because again, it's kind of difficult, but sometimes those are the coolest projects. Get some of this extra dough out of the way. There we go. All right, it's starting to get there. I think this wing is maybe a little bit smaller than the other one. It's not going to be perfect, but I think it will still look cool. I can make it look pretty close. That's how you know it's handmade. All right, so now I'm just going to smush it together a little bit so that it's not too fragile. I'm going to try and get under it with this card. This is an old trick to help you get your pieces off the table without breaking them. You got to get a card, and like an index card or a thick piece of paper will work. There we go. All right, I'm going to put my bird out to dry. What else can I make here? I'm going to gather up all my leftover dough. Put this guy over here. Let's make something else. I'm not going to keep that moon. I'm going to use that dough. I keep calling it clay. Now, that's actually an important thing to remember, is when the Native American tribes in our area would have made beads, they would not have used salt dough. They probably would have used clay or some other material. Like they could have carved them out of wood or bone or things like that. But salt dough is not traditional. It's just something that's easy to make at home. All right, so I've rolled some more, and now I'm cutting, just some shapes that I think might look neat. These are not traditional shapes, but I'm going to make something cool out of them, and it will be inspired by the artwork I've seen while researching for this project. I'm adding some horizontal lines on these pieces. Putting the hole for the necklace there. Adding some dots and texture. I think I'm going to make this one a kind of seashell shape. I did see on some of the regalia in my research, seashells were popular. All right. So again, when you move the card under your pieces, just be careful to, not scrape them too hard. There we go. We're going to set these out to dry. When you lay out your pieces, you can kind of get an idea of what your necklace might look like when it's done. Which piece do you want to put in the center? Which pieces will go on the sides? And you can put them out somewhere warm. Maybe the window's okay, but the main thing is we want to get all of the water out of our salt dough so they can be nice and dry before we do any painting on them. So if your house is a place where you've got an oven, that's also a thing you could do. You can set it to 250 degrees, get mom or dad or some adult, your favorite adult's help, then let them help you put it in the oven. You're going to set the timer for 2 hours. 2 hours. 250 degrees for 2 hours. And they'll help you get it out too. Alright? I'll have more details in the next video. Until then, have fun. Bye for now.